Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Rump, and right here, right now, I want to jump into all the brand new weapons from the In the Name of the Tsar DLC. I've had a couple people asking me, is this gun worth it? Is that gun worth it? Is this gun worth unlocking? So just really quickly, I want to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about each one of these weapons. So real quick as possible, let's jump into the soldier here. Going to start off with the weapons. First of all, the Model 1900 Factory. I was going to call it the M1900 Factory. The good about it, it's got great damage, great damage, high damage, 89 at close range. Sometimes you can get the one-hit kills within several meters. The bad, you only have 2 rounds, so you're not going to be able to go out there and take out too many enemies at one time, even if you get 2 kills, even if you get 2 one-hit kills instantly. And the ugly, you're going to spend a lot of time reloading with this weapon, so keep that in mind. A lot of time is going to be spent with that double barrel shotgun with the breech open, with you trying to fiddle and put rounds in there. Don't get me wrong, you can reload very quickly, but that's the ugly part about it. Keep in mind, unlocking this weapon is pretty easy, so is it worth the unlock? I say it's absolutely worth the unlock. Now we're going to go into the Model 1900 Slug variant. The Slug variant, it's easy to unlock, so that's the good, just like the other one, very easy to unlock. The bad, like the Model 1900 Factory, it takes a long time to reload. I know it's only about 2 or 3 seconds, but it takes a long time to reload. Basically, while you're reloading, you are just dead in the water. You have nothing. You can't do anything. And the ugly part about this is the Slug is highly accurate. But the ugly part about it is if you attempt to use this like the factory variant, your Slug rounds will just whiz right past the enemy. You're not going to get kills with it. Would I recommend unlocking it? I would absolutely recommend unlocking it, but that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. As far as the SMG 0818 Factory, it's easy to unlock. The good, it has a lot of rounds. It doesn't overheat like the Hell Regal. The bad, although it has a lot of rounds, it doesn't have the power of the Hell Regal. And the ugly thing is, guys, the time to kill with this thing is pretty high. So you're not going to run out there like you would with the Automatic or you would with the Hell Regal. Do I recommend unlocking this thing? I do with a catch. As long as you understand that unlocking this thing is not going to replace the Hell Regal, in my opinion. Hey, we could have different opinions, but it's not going to replace the Hell Regal. It is decent, but I would more recommend you go with the optical variant. Easy to unlock, and it's basically the same thing. The good, like I mentioned earlier, you have a ton of rounds. The bad, which also good, we have a fast reload. The bad, you do not have the high damage like some of the other weapons. The time to kill is a little high. The Hell Regal might show the same damage, but the time to kill with this thing is it just doesn't do what the Hell Regal does once you get it in your hands. And the ugly with this thing, you do have an optical sight, but at distance, you're really not going to want to be taking out enemies at distance, man. That's where your damage really starts to decrease. So would I recommend unlocking this? I would over the factory variant. Now onto the medic class, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We had a couple new weapons, the Fedorov Avtomat Trench. The good, this thing mows through the enemy. It just completely melts the enemy. The bad, this thing jumps like a bucking bronco. It jumps all over the place. The recoil, really attempt to manage this recoil if you can. And the ugly thing about this weapon is the recoil is so crazy that you will find yourself sometimes losing track of the enemy. This thing starts to bounce, and those sights start to go off the enemy. You may find yourself losing track of the enemy if you do not maintain that recoil. So that's the good, the bad, the ugly. Do I recommend unlocking this thing? Absolutely. If you have not unlocked the Fedorov Avtomat Trench, what are you waiting for? Now, as far as the Fedorov Avtomat, optical. This thing, it's the good, just like the other one, the Fedorov Avtomat, the factory. This thing just mows through the enemy. It just completely trench. It just mows through the enemy, melts the enemy. It's just absolutely awesome. The bad with this thing, like I just mentioned with the trench variant, the recoil bounces all over the place. The ugly with this thing, there's not really anything ugly about it. This thing absolutely is just beast. If you have not unlocked this thing, unlock it right now. Unlock this thing, Fedorov Avtomat Optical. It doesn't even cost you, it doesn't even take you much time to unlock this thing. Unlock this thing, do it for yourself. It will increase your meta gameplay. Check it out. Definitely 2 thumbs up. This might be one. Unlock this thing. Just unlock this thing. As far as the General Liu Factory, the good, this thing is very powerful, and it wasn't too much to unlock it. The bad, although it's powerful, you don't have that many rounds to get in with. You only have 6 rounds at a clip, 6 rounds at a time. And the ugly, you will find yourself running through those 6 rounds very quickly. So keep that in mind. If you are an aggressive medic, this may not fit your playstyle, okay? Do I recommend unlocking it? I do. With a catch, just like earlier with a catch, I would much rather unlock this Storm variant before I unlock the other one, because it kind of gives you a little bit more, you know, for some reason, maybe it's just me, I felt it was a little bit more ready once I started shooting. Once that recoil reset, it was a little bit more ready to start taking out those enemies. So the good, it didn't take you too much to unlock it. Heavy damage. The bad, it's not too much bad compared to the other one. It's not too much bad other than the 6-round clip. You don't have that many rounds. And the ugly, if you were an aggressive medic, this will not be the weapon for you. That's the ugly part about it. Do I recommend it? I highly recommend it. 2 thumbs way up. Check it out. If you are a slow-paced medic who's not too much into reviving everybody, because, hey, reviving's overrated. Nobody's reviving anybody anymore, right? Come on, medics. Hopefully you disagree with me. I was just playing around. 3 medics ran past me. Nobody hit me with the revive. Nobody dropped any health packs. I was like, what is going on? That's neither here nor there. As far as the support class, you have 4 new weapons, 2 weapons with 2 variants. The Parabellum MG 1417 low weight. The good, this thing is an absolute powerhouse. The bad, this thing overheats very, very quickly. The ugly part about this thing is you will find yourself trying to get used to the recoil. Keep your finger off that trigger. You know what I mean? Let a couple rounds fly, then, you know what I mean? Relax a little bit. Let a couple rounds fly, relax a little bit. That's the ugly part about it. The recoil, again, like I mentioned with the Avtomat, the recoil on this thing is wild. Now, do I recommend unlocking it? 2 thumbs way up. Absolutely unlock this thing. As far as the Parabellum suppressive, the MG1417, the good, this thing is highly accurate with that optic sight. It is highly accurate once you're proned out or once you have to play this on a stationary object. The bad, like I mentioned earlier with the other variant, it will overheat, so you want to steer clear of just laying on the trigger. And the ugly part about this thing is it's not going to be your run and gun light machine gun. If you are a support class player who likes to run and gun, the ugly, this thing, recoil wise, it's not going to be the gun for you. If you're that aggressive support player, you may want to just hunker down. Keep that in mind. Hunker down, then fire. Let that bipod work for you, then fire. Now, would I recommend unlocking this thing? 1, 2 thumbs way up. Absolutely unlock this thing. As far as the Perino, going on to the Perino, the good, the bad, the ugly, the good, this thing is highly accurate. Absolutely highly accurate. The bad, this thing, it's not going to be your highest damage light machine gun, although the damage is 24. Keep in mind, unless you're close range, you're not going to be getting 24 with every shot. And the ugly part about this weapon is the fact that you will notice a time to kill that is a little horrendous. One thing that I noticed with this thing is kind of managing the recoil does help because the recoil is pretty steady, but you'll notice a very, very high time to kill. Do I recommend unlocking this? Absolutely, and for 2 reasons that I'm about to get into with the Perino defensive. The good with the Perino defensive that I didn't mention for the past Perino, this thing reloads very, very quickly. Do not let it run dry. Just drop the rounds right there in the hopper, and this thing will reload very, very fast. That is, not only is that good, that is just 2 thumbs way up good, especially when you're a light machine gun user and you need all those rounds at the ready. You need those rounds to be able to expend. The bad once again is the time to kill. It does not have a high time to kill. And the ugly part about this thing, you know what? Based on having a better sight on this thing, based on the great accuracy, based on the low recoil, I'm gonna say there's really nothing ugly about this thing. Definitely do yourself a favor, unlock it. 2 thumbs way up. Now, as far as the Scout class, let's get into the 4 rifles, the 2 rifles, 2 variants for the Scout class. Number 1, why do I have on the lapel? The Mosin-Nagant, the good? The good, you know, I'm a little torn right here with this one. But the good with this rifle is once you're in the sweet spot, you can devastate the enemy. And I'm still trying to find the sweet spot. I'll be honest. I keep playing with this thing. I keep trying to find the sweet spot. If one of you knows the sweet spot, please hit me up. Give me the info so I can share with you guys. Let me know down in the comments. I keep trying to find that sweet spot, and I'm just not really getting a feel for it. I'm liking, I don't want to get into it. That's a whole nother video in itself. But the good is once you get in the sweet spot range, you can just pop, take out the enemies. The bad thing about this thing is the weapon sway. It is absolutely horrendous. If you're an aggressive sniper like me, As soon as you want to pull up your sights, as soon as you fire, you want those sights to be dead on steady, not moving. There's a slight weapon sway with this thing that starts to happen as soon as you pull up the sights. So that is extremely bad. That might even be the ugly thing. That is just extremely bad. And the ugly thing is, if you're an aggressive sniper, although this can work well for you, that weapon sway it just really is a turn off in my opinion. Although I enjoy using it, I do enjoy using this thing. Do I recommend unlocking this? I'll give it one thumb way up. I do recommend unlocking it, that aside. Now, as far as the marksman variant, once again, like I mentioned earlier with the sights, the good is this thing is pretty powerful in the sweet spot range. The bad, like I mentioned, the sway is absolutely horrendous. And the ugly is once you add those, not just the stock iron sights, but once you add an actual scope, you will really begin to feel that sway with the weapons. That's the ugly. Do I recommend unlocking it? 2 thumbs way up. I still do recommend unlocking it because the damage and the accuracy is good once you allow that sway to stop, once you allow the sights to reset so they're steady on the enemy. As far as the Vetterli-Vitali, it's pretty easy to unlock it, so that's the good. Very easy to unlock it. The bad with this thing, I wasn't a fan of the stock sights. I don't like that whole like 2 bars on the side, 1 sight in the middle. I just wasn't a fan of it. The ugly, I'm gonna go ahead and say there's not too much really ugly about this thing, other than the fact of it takes a little bit to acquire the sights. It takes a little time to acquire the sights. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it. I'll still give it maybe a half a thumbs up for this thing. If you enjoy infantry, if you enjoy stock sights, you might really enjoy this because it really does have a really cool bolt action reload on the thing. So it's got a good sound. It is powerful in certain ranges. So I would say, we're gonna give it maybe 3/4 of a thumbs up for that one. And then last but not least, for the heavy weapons, before we get into the secondary, the Vetterli-Vitali carbine. The good, you actually have an optical sight. The bad, again, weapon sway like I mentioned with the Mosin-Nagant. The weapon sway on this thing, I need those sights to be dead on 100% accurate as soon as I pull up the sights. With this thing, it kind of sways a little bit. The ugly, I think the ugly part about this thing is the fact that with that weapon sway, sometimes I'm getting killed. I might rage a little bit, but once you are used to that weapon sway, as soon as you pull in those sights, it takes maybe a 1/4 of a second, and then once it's steady again, then you can fire again. So would I give this a thumbs up? I would actually give this one, the carbine variant, I would actually give it 2 thumbs up, believe it or not. I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up. Reason being is because it sort of reminds me of the Martini Henry, but not the Martini Henry. Kind of reminds me of the Martini Henry Sniper, but not the Martini Henry Sniper. I like it. I like the damage, and I like the feel that I get when I run around with it. So I'll give it 2 thumbs up. Now we're going to go into very quickly our secondary weapons. So we have the Nagant Revolver. The good is it's very powerful with high damage of 57. The bad is the reload time. If you attempt to reload while this thing still has rounds left, it could take you upwards of about, if you have 1 round in the chamber, it could take you upwards of about 11 seconds to reload, which is absolutely horrendous. And the ugly part about it is that reload time makes this revolver absolutely useless in my opinion. Unless you're one of those players who only goes to that revolver if you want to just get out of dodge, if some enemies are running down on you, just want to pop a couple shots and run, then this is the revolver for you. If not, there's so many other revolvers that just work so much better. I mean, the Gasser is powerful. The other ones, they just reload so much quicker. So the ugly it's just useless, absolutely useless. Now the Obrez Pistol, the good. It is the most powerful pistol in Battlefield 1. You can get 1-hit kills in close range. It's got 85 damage. The bad is once you fire, you have to reload. So a split second or 2, you have to reload in between firing the shots. And the ugly, I'm going to go ahead and say there's not much ugly about this thing because this thing is devastating. If you haven't checked out my Obrez Pistol video where I gave you 5 tips for using this thing, go ahead and check that video out. I'm going to give this thing 1, 2, and 3 thumbs up if I had 3 hands. I would give this thing 3 thumbs up. Unlock this thing. It's fairly easy to unlock, and it is an absolute powerhouse as your secondary weapon. So there we go, guys. I had a few of you asking me what is worth unlocking, what do I think about the weapons. I can break down these videos into certain videos for each and every weapon, but I figured right here right now I just very quickly just lay this out for you. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, we're on the road to 4K. That's 4,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you guys on the next one. It's your boy Rump Spanker, and I'm out of here.